What's up, everybody? Big win in Provo, and now we're down to one more game, huh? I'm John Hoover, publisher at AllSooners, and Rryan Chapman and Randall Sweet. They're going to drop by in just a few seconds to help me break down this week's season finale against TCU. The Sooners held on last week in Provo. They beat a super scrappy BYU team 31-24, and they go into this week's game 9-2 overall, 6-2 in Big 12 play, while TCU, they're 5-6 after playing for the national championship just last year. Anybody remember that one? Right? Big 12 championship game is still in play for Oklahoma, but the Sooners still need help. Mainly, they need Texas to lose to Texas Tech or OSU to lose to BYU. Either one of those and an Oklahoma victory is a good thing for OU, but it kind of seems unlikely as both the Longhorns and the Cowboys are double-digit favorites going into this weekend. Anyway, there's a lot of other tiebreaker scenarios. Make your brain hurt. One of those actually includes Oklahoma losing to TCU and somehow still getting in through the various tiebreaker scenarios. I don't know. It's a long shot, but we'll let it all play out starting on Friday morning. And, of course, the three of us will be there. We'll have every angle covered for you at allsooners.com. Gentlemen, I hope you guys and all of our viewers are having a happy Thanksgiving. Let's dive into today's preview. Question number one, Dillon Gabriel was once a Heisman contender this year, but he got hurt at BYU and had to leave the game. Looks like another head injury, possibly. Brent Venables told us on Monday he's trending to be available against TCU. I guess we'll see about that. But if he's not, it'll be the Jackson Arnold show. The question is this: is Oklahoma good enough to beat TCU with true freshman Jackson Arnold at quarterback?
Sure. Oklahoma, certainly playing at home, is perfectly capable of beating TCU, whether it's Dillon Gabriel or Jackson Arnold. But I think it's more to do with what Oklahoma's going to do defensively than honestly if it's Gabriel or Arnold. With Gabriel, a lot more of a known quantity. You know that you've got the veteran guy, hasn't made a ton of mistakes with the football, but Arnold's got better arm talent. He's certainly got a bigger arm, all that stuff. But it's going to be about what the defense does for me. You got to look at, is Oklahoma going to be susceptible through the air to Josh Hoover and TCU's passing attack, or do they force those turnovers? TCU really bad with turnover margin, mainly because Hoover throws the ball to the other team. TCU also bad red zone offense, and that's something that Oklahoma's been pretty good at defensively, bowing up at the goal line, things like that. And so, yes, the percentage chance of victory much larger, I think, with Dillon Gabriel, just because you know what that product is. But it's going to rest for me on the defense and what I expect to be a pretty high-scoring affair on Black Friday.
I would say that, yes, Oklahoma is talented enough to beat TCU with Jackson Arnold at quarterback. I think that being at home really helps for Oklahoma. I mean, we've seen that they're a different team on the road than they are at Owen Field, and so I think that that's going to play a big factor into the, regardless of whether it's Dillon Gabriel or Jackson Arnold, how that team performs. But I think that, we saw last week Jackson Arnold came in when the game was tied on the road. And while the offense didn't perform, extremely well, they did enough to win the game with the help of that defense. And so I think that with a full week to prepare and with, the home crowd behind them, not on the road in a tough environment, that Jackson Arnold, he could get the job done if he is, the one that's called upon to do that. I think that we saw enough of him running. I think that they could put together a good enough running package for Jackson Arnold, and I think that we saw him make some big-time clutch throws.
Yeah, so I'm going to say yes to this one. But they have to take the training wheels off and let the kid play, right? Give him a package of the playbook. Give him some plays that he likes, right? That he's successful with, that he's been good at in practice. But don't put any limits on him. He doesn't have Dillon Gabriel's experience, and that's obvious, but that's okay. He's going to be the future of your program. You said it last year, the face of the program. So just, be safe, be conservative if things get precarious during the game. But also, don't forget to be aggressive basically everywhere else. Let the defense, let the running game do its thing. As they say, scared money don't make none, and Jeff Lebby needs to call this game kind of almost the same as if he would if Gabriel was starting, which he still might. We don't know for sure, but we'll see. Okay, second question. I'll go first this time. Depending on the outcome of Friday's game, OU will be 9-3 this year or 10-2, and that is certainly an improvement over 6-7, right? I think we all agree. But this team, with those guys losing to Kansas and Oklahoma State, it's just the 5th time in program history that they've lost to both those teams in the same year. Woof. They're probably going to come up short of a conference championship. They could be a decent bowl, or it could be another mediocre bowl. Would you say this season was a success? So I'll go first. It's a little bit tricky for me. Are they better? Yes, they're absolutely unequivocally better, not debatable. But is this season a success? I'm not so sure. You beat Texas, who's in line for a playoff spot, right? Going into the last week of the season. You had one of the easiest schedules in school history, really, and one of the easiest in the country this year. You should have been able to navigate this thing a little better than you did. Losing to Jason Bean, a backup quarterback at Kansas, and losing to Alan Bowman, a 2-time transfer in Stillwater, all because of 6 really, truly, mostly careless turnovers. It's kind of unforgivable. This team, I think this team was certainly good enough to win both of those games, and you know what, frankly, they ought to be undefeated right now. They should be undefeated right now going into the season finale. I know that's maybe adjusting the expectations after the Texas game, but that's what this team was capable of, right? And to be honest, that's the standard at Oklahoma. Not going 10-2 with a couple of close losses to a couple of average teams. Going undefeated, winning a conference championship, getting to the playoff, that's the standard. What do you guys think?
Yeah, if you had asked him before the season, Oklahoma goes 10-2, has a chance to make the Big 12 championship game, but looking at tiebreakers, I think everyone would have taken it. But things that did play out like we thought, the Big 12, just not a ton of juggernaut teams or anything like that. I think Texas is really good. I think Texas is a great team. I think you've got a bunch of good teams that are pretty inconsistent at the high end. So I think that it can simultaneously be a good season, but also a missed opportunity. You look at how that Kansas game was lost. You look at how Bedlam was lost. 3 turnovers in each of those games. The defense makes plays late that should have sealed it, and you can't get the job done. Give up huge long drives, unable to fire back. I think it can be both. It can be a good season, but a good season where Oklahoma left a lot on the table. A missed opportunity. This should have been Oklahoma and Texas in the Big 12 championship game. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Could still finish that way, but those two teams are night and day. At their best, at the top end, there's not another team in the Big 12 outside of those two squads that should have been able to hang with Oklahoma and Texas. And Oklahoma didn't handle their business without the help of maybe some tiebreakers. So, good season. Certainly okay to be disappointed after the goalpost move. If you lose to TCU, I think that changes things a bit because I don't think there's enough depth or quality in this conference to justify 3 losses, especially when it was turnovers, coaching decisions, headaches with play calling, game management at Kansas and in Stillwater.
I really think that while a lot of OU fans might not be happy with this season right now, I think that, if you told OU fans at the beginning of the season that they were going to be 9-3, 10-2, they would have been a lot more accepting. And I do think that this season's been a success for the Sooners. Again, look at it from, the point of view of, like you said, 6-7 last season. That's a 3-4 win increase this year. I think that's not easy to do in the course of one off season in college football. Now heading into the SEC, you need that momentum if you're Oklahoma of not being a 6-7 team, especially on the recruiting world. To get that fan buy-in, which Oklahoma obviously is going to have no problem with fan buy-in. But again, a 10-2, 9-3 season really will increase that fan buy-in, especially after what we saw last year. And again, I think that that regardless of making a New Year's Six bowl, whether you do or don't, not getting to the Big 12 championship, which looks hard at this point. I think that if OU goes out, they win on Saturday, that's 10-2. I think that cannot be understated how much of an improvement that is from what that team did last season.
All right, thanks, guys. Good stuff as always. Appreciate it. Listen, you all should check out AllSooners.com the rest of the weekend for our wall-to-wall coverage of OU and TCU. It's the final regular season game of the year. Went fast, didn't it? And our staff is going to have it covered. We've got the pregame coverage. We've got the in-game live blog, the postgame interviews from the players and the coaches. We're going to have our postgame reaction from the field. We're going to have the All Sooners podcast, which is certified fresh from the press box. And much, much more. Just keep it right here at AllSooners.com. For Rryan Chapman and Randall Sweet, I'm John Hoover. See you guys.